When I was a kid and I went to the movies and I'd be there with my mom, and there were very often times in the movies where I really couldn't bear what I was watching. And I would want to leave the theater or hide my head in her lap or do anything to avoid the reality of the story. And her comment to me was always the same one. And it registered. It wasn't always helpful, but it registered. And that was, it's only a movie. And I paid attention to that. And I saw on occasion it was not all that hard when things got really tense and dramatic and unpleasant and fearful for me to go, it's only a movie. You can watch it. It also had the advantage of having an end. That at some point I would leave the theater. But while I was in the theater, while I was not contemplating the end or the resolution of things, while I was just caught in the drama, it could be very unpleasant. I'm currently watching, streaming, I guess, Breaking Bad. I don't know how many of you have watched Breaking Bad. It's an amazingly good show. Up there with Sopranos and Mad Men is among my favorite shows, even though I'm still watching it. So don't anybody give me spoilers. And it is so hard to watch. So many people that you care about are so threatened. Good things happen to them, bad things happen to them. You know the minute a good thing happens, a bad thing will happen, and then a good thing will happen. And you know it will keep going like this, but you have no idea, at least I don't, how it will all turn out. And you watch people doing really stupid things, things that they need to do in some ways for their own preservation. But you watch all this and you go, can I watch this? This is so hard. And this voice again comes up in my head. It's only in this case, a very long streaming TV show, which instead of watching season by season by season, Blanche and I watch every night. I also watch it while she's on the treadmill, I'm on the bicycle. And boy, oh boy, does that time go by fast. We're just watching all these dramas unfold. And I look at it, and it's very, very revelatory. Because it feels like what's going on in that particular show is not unlike what's going on in our world today. This sense of, I would like someone to tell me it's only a movie. Sense that I don't like the story. I don't like what's happening around me. I don't like what's happening to people. I don't like the quarantine part of our lives, the disease part of our lives, the political part of our lives, on and on and on. And I just wish to get to the end of it. And the interesting part is that there's only one end. And the end is that you leave the story. And you leave the story unfinished, incomplete. You will never know the end. The only end you will know is that you are no longer part of the story. And that's a very powerful journey because we are trained watching movies to get to the end, to get to resolution, completion, fulfillment, satisfaction, happy ending. And that's a fiction, really, that Hollywood and even people like me have presented to everybody. And it is a fiction that we buy into because it helps us get through the day. It helps us to feel our way through the morass of stuff that's going on around us. But as great scholars and thinkers have told us in the past, and now certainly at this moment, a phrase that's very meaningful. These are the times that try men's souls. We have not always lived in that time. We've often lived in times where our souls weren't tried very much at all, where life was rather genteel. Some of our own little dramas may have happened, individual complications in lives, momentary sufferings, but collective suffering, where we are all in this together, is a very, very big experience. And the reality is, and it's one that I feel very strongly when I work with all of you, is everyone is in a different place. Every one of you is dealing with this differently. Some of you with some skill, greater skill than others. Some of you hiding away, some of you shutting down, some of you fearful, opening. And it varies often. Each time I see you, I see all the gradations and the variations of what I would call, get me out of here. And somehow my feeling, I've got to tell you, it's only a movie. It's only the show. It's amazing how addicted we get just to something on a screen. It's really, in television terms, electrons blasting a screen, telling us a story that we are really, really riveted by. In the movie days, it was a projector projecting something with light and some celluloid thing passing through in front of the light, a story that we would get completely caught up in. But real life, as what we experience right now, seems to be something more than just a story. It seems to be really about us, that we are the heroes or the villains or the passers-by in a story that is very, very powerful and very engaging. And we don't have a lot of mechanism to step back from it and remember it's only a movie. It's only a story. It's only a life. Yes, it has your name on it, but it's just a life. It really is a projection of something in time and space that even in itself does not exist. How does one learn that this is only a movie? How does one step back? How does one get in charge of that disconnect or disassociation or distancing from the drama of the story? Do you pretend it doesn't exist? Do you put your head in the sand? Do you look at it with your eyes wide open and go, okay, I see what this is? Or a meditative approach, sit still, get very quiet, take a breath, go into your heart, ask, if you will, for help to surrender and let go, and with your eyes wide open, stare at the totality. Stare at this thing, just look at it. Buddha stared at it for a very long time and discovered in the staring, because he left his wealth behind, his family behind, his princely life as a very, very comfortable person. He left it all behind and sat under a tree for years. And in that sitting still and going in inside, he discovered some remarkable things which he's taught us. But the foundational reality of what he taught us is that there is nothing here. Nothing. It's all emptiness. It is only ignorance that gets involved in a shadow play, if you will, that we call life. And that one can go into this place inside and begin to get a sense of stillness, clarity, relief even from the drama of the movie playing around us on every level. It's highly recommended as a way of getting through the day, getting through difficult times or times that try your soul. Sitting still is a place you can go, and it's a gift. But I will tell you, you may not want to hear this, It's not just sitting still and letting it happen. It's an adventure of going deeper and deeper into layers of truth and reality that you will be stunned by. And you will probably react to even more dramatically than the outer presentation of the world, because in the totality that we are, in the absolute that we represent, there is a reality of nothingness and emptiness that denies your entire life and your entire adventure, that denies everything you are and are about, that basically says there's no you, there never has been a you. Everything you've ever done has been self-aggrandizing for your own joy, your own benefit, your own purpose. You think it has value, you think it has longevity, you think if you have children and grandchildren, it will go on in perpetuity. You think you have a past and you have had all these stories. This goes into a place when you go really deep. None of that. It is annihilating of everything you know to be true and real, including the drama that we're in right now. It goes so profoundly deep that all manifestation of understanding and grasping and having a hold on this and having a sense of grounding goes away. If there's any you left in that process, it will find a certain level of, we can say, discomfort leading into panic and terror. As long as there is a you that experiences nothingness and meaningless and emptiness, as long as there's a you in relationship to that, you are not free. You are not liberated. You are not awake. You are not enlightened. You are still there, caught in this should mean something. I wish it did. I wish it did. I wish the fact that I had friendships and love and goodness and all these things in my life, I thought that they would all add up to something, and they add up to nothing. Nothing. We come out of nothing, we return to nothing. The journey of returning to nothing can happen like that, which is a kind of timeless moment that may go on for a very long time. In the Buddhist sense, you pass through all sorts of bardos and states where you try to accommodate the loss of everything. In a life like we're living now, physical manifested life, there is this thing of thinking it's real, trying to get our hands around it, our mind around it, our arms around it, and trying to make it make sense. But I can only tell you, it will not add up to anything. And the washing away of that person that wants it to be meaningful, to have value, to have purpose, is very, very effortful. You have to go okay to the absolute denial of everything that has quality and meaning and value in your life. And how do you do that? Well, I'll tell you, it's a very deep effort. It's not casual, it's not once in a while, it's not sitting down and going, well, maybe I'll meditate today. It's not like that. If you want to go to where this reality is waiting to express itself to you, it's a life's work. Is it worthwhile doing? You know, so few people get there. So few people get there, this awakened state, that clearly it's not meant for everybody. I will tell you, the journey to awakening is in itself worthy. It is a better way of living life than in the ignorance of not knowing and not caring. It allows you to begin to see, to feel, to be aware, to witness all of this. But as it goes deeper and deeper, you have got to find a level of commitment and will and desire to reach into this nothingness. And the problem is that part of you that is willing and trying and wanting to do that is ultimately the problem. Because that's the very thing that has to be dropped away. And in a way, It can't, because the part of you that wants to do it is causing the problem. So you have to come to a place of deep stillness that goes, and then watch what happens. It's a real us-so moment. It's a complete and absolute surrender to the reality that there's still a you and a body and a mind and an experiencing being that still has care about itself. And it's going to be there, and you are going to be more and more the witness of that rather than the beer and the doer of it. But there's still going to be this kind of separation and duality, which will gradually, I think, because now that I'm getting old, I'm watching the process, it gets scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed until even your fingernails that are holding on to the last bit of understanding and truth get clipped off. And you just go, done. If there's a done. The idea that I could offer you some insight and information that you can hold on to that would make you feel good would be a problem, because in the end, it's fake news. You cannot hold on to anything at all, but you can give yourself over to the what is, the totality. And one of the great things that one starts to realize in approaching emptiness and nothingness and allowing yourself to reside there more and more, even though it's a very, very strange, alienated space on some level, because the person that is aware of it is still a person. But what one realizes as you enter into nothingness is this experience of love, beauty, truth, and kindness, goodness, light, and joy are all contained somehow and arise out of this emptiness and nothingness. How does that happen? How does that happen? You and I will never know the answer to that. But we are the answer to that, because we are the very essence of that emptiness. And the only thing that stands between us and that fingernail hold on it is called being alive, life. And when you get to my age, and you get to be in a period of time when there's a pandemic going on and people are dying right and left, you realize we're all inches away, moments away from that final poof. And when you do that, if you have spent a lifetime deeply letting go, allowing, accepting, surrendering, the way Rudy taught me, Blanche and many of us, 50, in my case, 50 some years ago, half a century ago, that practice is really worthwhile. Because as I'm getting into the finger hold moments of my life, I am realizing this is really happening. I am truly, truly entering the nothing zone, the absolute emptiness of all there is. But the one thing that makes me go beyond the panic and the fear and the sense of what was this all about is I have tasted love, I have witnessed beauty, I have felt the truth of being. I can't comprehend it, I cannot even really articulate it. I can only tell you that this journey of all these years has been the great gift. It is profound, but the place I'm at now is really like finally the essence of the work. Moment to moment to moment, being in the space where death and nothingness and emptiness are absolutely part of my daily experience. Any second, over. I will not see the end of so many things. I may not see the end of the election. Maybe I will. I may not see my grandchildren grow up on any level. I may not see how your lives unfold. I may not see how even the ending of Breaking Bad. What then? If all of this is going to go away and I cannot get the satisfaction of knowing an end, what do I do? I can only tell you, let go. Let go. Do the work. Practice. Please help me to surrender. So when that moment comes and you know you're not going to know the ending, you're not going to get it, it's not going to be happy after ever, it's going to be nothing. How do you go, okay? Well, you practice surrender, and when it finally comes, and there's one fingernail left holding on, and they go like that, you will be somewhere or nowhere. But if there is somewhere that you are, let me just leave you with this piece of information. Out of that nothingness that we enter, out of that deep surrender into the unknown invisibility of emptiness, resides love, beauty, truth, because it comes out of something. It comes out of nothing, but it comes out. It emerges, it arises, it wants to arise, it wants to fill what is, in our experience, time and space, the TV screen, the movie screen. It wants to blast these stories back into existence. We may become another story, we may become a witness to all stories, or we may just reside in that space that is the source of all story. We'll see. We shall see. I mean, the great enlightened ones talk about eternal bliss. I haven't arrived at eternal bliss, and I don't know many people who have. I believe people who say they have, I think, but I watch some of the behaviors of people who say they have eternal bliss, and they're not really nice people when you get down to it. And I don't understand that at all. It just makes no sense. You can walk around and say you have eternal bliss and then be miserable to people, or say, get out of my sight, I don't want to see you. And maybe that's a kindness that we don't understand except from a great depth. But the truth is, if you end up in eternal bliss, great. If we all do, great. I will tell you what my experience is. I am living in the most poignant space I have been in my life. I am witnessing life as so full of love, so full of beauty, so full of truth, so resonant in goodness and kindness. I am feeling, as I've said this week after week, that this GPS system in my heart is really now blasting away, saying, do this, do that. And I think I explain this now every week. It's gotten down into the details. Dry that plate better, put it away, set up for tomorrow and do it carefully. Do the right thing, say something kind to somebody, make a phone call. It's so directive, and nothing in me is going, well, I don't know. Yeah, nothing. I'm just going like that. It's so completing. You feel yourself serving this space from which love, beauty, truth, kindness, goodness, all of manifestation arises. If we all lived from that space, if we all followed that voice, if we all tuned into that voice, we would become, I hate the word enlightened, lighter. We would become lighter. We wouldn't struggle so much with life. We would wake up and not know what to do. You just sit still. And then this thing inside you goes, go to the bathroom, go for a walk, eat a piece of cheese, have a grape, look out the window for 5 minutes. This thing just is there. It just kind of tells you what to do. It nudges you. Sometimes it's like a voice. Mostly it's feeling. Feeling is this bizarrely powerful way of knowing that doesn't pass through the intellect and the mind. It's a kind of, oh, okay. And you don't dialogue with it, you just follow its guidance. We all have that. Everyone has that. The only thing I see when I look at you guys, and I mean, and everybody, is how ignorant we are of that ability, how rarely we access it, how little we try to sit still long enough to find the voice, to find that still pointedness, which actually is a doorway to something so comforting and so beautiful and so loving and so everything we're looking for, until it goes into, I want that. Sorry, I don't mean to destroy what I'm saying here, but finding joy and love and beauty and everything else is a temporary stage because you have to let go of it ultimately. So once you find that deep inside and you go, oh, I have it, be prepared. The next step is no, you don't. Having it is the problem. Wanting it is the problem. But the journey going there is really important. And at the end, you're going to go poof. You don't have it anymore as a separate owner of it. What you may have, we'll find out, is that you at the very heart of being are the very source of those realities. That's who you are. And when you find that, there's no separate person to go, oh, I am that. There is only the that. The journey to I am that takes you down to the fingernail mode. And then the fingernails get clipped off and the I am part falls away and the that remains. And it's a this. And it's permanent, I think. It's everywhere and it's one with, and you are one with that. This is our ride, guys. It's a really big ride. We're all at different stages along the journey. My job at this moment in time, other than to process my panic, process my emptiness, process my, there's no meaning to it, there's no nothing, which comes up regularly. My job is to do that and to report on the journey and to share it with you, and then to have you from this place that you are residing, figure out what can I do? I mean, you may hear what I'm having to say and I go, I don't want this. Who wants to go on that ride? Here's the unfortunate thing. You're on it. You may not want to be on it, but you're on it. So what do you do about that? Well, this is something you can do about that. There's also alcohol, there's drugs, there's sex, there is endless Netflix. I mean, there's so many other things. There's so many things you can do to not be on it. But in the end, it's all there is. And either you understand it, figure out what to do about it, or you don't. And again, I'm looking at all of you and I'm seeing some of you who are engaging this with real purpose and finding your way, finding your guidance system, finding how to get through this, how to be a good person, how to help other people, how to be a source of love in the world, how to be a good Samaritan, if you will. That's worth it while you're here. And as you move to the tail end of it, it's going to be very dramatic. I'm telling you, it's very dramatic. Getting old is dramatic. Losing your faculties is dramatic. Realizing that the end is near is dramatic and that it's real. Learning to do that is what this whole ride is about. And the great thing is it doesn't take you out of life. It makes life so real and so poignant and so beautiful that you will find, as I have discovered, I'm a person who rarely cries. I mean, I haven't been able to cry in decades. All of a sudden, I'm crying like that. Like that. You know, Judy Garland says something in one of these old movies and I'm sobbing away. I cannot tell you how much joy and beauty and amazement I find in everything I'm seeing, including the horror show of so much of what's happening around us. It only makes it more remarkable. These are the times that try men's souls. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? In the end, this is your job. This is your journey. Figure it out. Take charge. Don't take charge. However you want. Come to these talks. Don't come to these talks. Sit still. Make noise. It doesn't matter. It's your job to do what you want to do. You're totally on your own. in some regard, except for some reason, I have been told to let you know that these talks will happen in Los Angeles once a month, online every week. And you can draw from them if they speak to you. And if you're going, oh my God, here he goes again, you don't have to come. I don't blame you at all. There's only so many times you want to hear this stuff. But if you can get the message and do the work, if you can do the work, I think you will have a better ride. If you can remember it's only a movie, it's only a movie, it's only a show, it's only a streaming God knows what. It's not what it looks like at all. And I will tell you, I mean, just to throw in one more piece here, the whole narrative, linear nature of your life is a complete illusion. It's a total illusion. I don't know what to tell you about that. But it's only happening in this moment. It's only happening now. It's only happening now. And the idea of past and future is only filtering into the molecularity of this very moment. I don't know what we do with that, but when you see that for the truth it is very strange. It is very strange. It's okay. You finally get that everything your mind told you is its own projection. Everything your mind gave you as a linear story is just so you can figure out how to go through time and space with some kind of cohesion. But in truth, it's all happening at the same time. It's all one thing. It's all empty. It's all meaningless. It's nothing. And yet it's everything we're experiencing right now. Mystery upon mystery upon mystery. Have a good, enjoyable ride. This is your ride, your choice, how to do it. I would recommend find some time every day, sit still a little bit. Find that place of joy. Find that place that gives clarity. Find that place that embraces you and allows you to feel directed and purposeful in a world that has no meaning. It's a powerful journey, and you're on it. These are the times that try men's souls. Good luck. Okay, any questions? Did I depress everybody? I don't mean this to be depressing. It is really powerful, powerful stuff. This journey we're on is not for the faint of heart. It's not. You can stand there and say, I will not wear a mask. I'm my own person. I can do whatever I want. You can do that. You can do any of that stuff. In the end, you are just another cog in a big machine and you're going to die. And if you don't figure it out beforehand, I gather if you follow certain kinds of traditions, you come back a million times to get it figured out. But in the end, the only thing you figure out is there's nothing to figure out. It'll never, ever be known. I could do this for hours. You don't want to hear it for hours.
Thanks for reporting from the field.
That's what I'm doing. Any questions, or are we done? It sounds like done. Okay. Love you all very much. I will see you guys in a month if you're there. And if not, have a wonderful journey. Anyone who wants to call or email, I'm available. And I really love you all. Truly love you all.